Very pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to our program. We're actually on the third episode since we began Crossfire. For this program, we have entitled, a catchphrase, Danger in the Waters. Our country is an archipelago. We've repeated this 1,000 times. We are a body of water with islands. So that body of water is such that we have to discuss this afternoon. We have up north, the Taiwan Straits. We have on the other side, on the western side, we have the South China Sea. And then we have the Philippine Rice, which is there in the Pacific Ocean. If we go further down south, we also have some of those channels. Remember how it was America tried to get East Timor so that they could control the passage also down south. So whatever it is, that's exactly we are located in the most strategic place in the planet. This is Crossfire, and I'd like to welcome our partner, Sir Butch Valdes. Saving the nation has been his crusade for so many decades now. And a special guest now, we have Paglinawan, somebody who has traveled the world in many ways, through the waters and through land. He has been with the Philippine Embassy in Washington. He has been everywhere, as a matter of fact, all the way to China. And he knows exactly how dangerous the waters are that surround us. So I'd like to welcome all of you for this important event that we are actually going to discuss now. Last week we said, is war imminent? Now we're downsizing that program to dangers in the water. So first,
Okay.
yes, Butch?
Yes, well, I'm glad that of course napaunlakan tayo ni Ado Paglinawan na dito sa ating imbitasyon. Dahil napakahirap kunin nito si Ado dahil very busy siya with writing books and commentating in different radio and television programs. So maraming salamat, Ado. Now let's start with the thing. Apparently, dito po sa nakaraan, nabalitaan natin na nagalit ang China sa Taiwan, pero mas galit sila sa Amerikano, no? For provoking China into a conflict, no? At pinilit nilang padala dun si Pelosi sa Taiwan, despite the fact that China was warning them not to. And that, sabi pa nga ng China noon, do not play with fire or else you will get burned. No? And what happened, of course, dumating si Pelosi at nagpakita ng gilas ngayon yung China by demonstrating kanilang military power by shooting missiles over Taiwan. Can you imagine? Nakaka-nervous yun eh. Eh kung magkamali yung computation mo, no? At hindi pumunta doon sa kabilang tubig at nagland yan sa Taiwan, di tapos na. Gera na ng gusto, no?
Well, we have something like several centuries ago, si Sun Tzu and the Art of War, exactly how China is behaving now with the way the United States of America is also behaving. Kaya nga sinasabi ni Sir Butch, sino ba nagpilit dyan kay Pelosi na pumunta sa Taiwan? Ado, pagpunta ni Pelosi doon, yan ba because she did it on her personal intent kasi merong re-election, meron ng election sa Amerika, or kagaya ng mga Amerikano kasi double speak sila eh.
Well, ako'y naniniwala na that's one of the reasons. And Pelosi was precisely the poster girl muna, no, ha? But there are underlying reasons. And this is really to use Pelosi as a clickbait. No? So kung favorable sa US, they will escalate further. Kung hindi favorable sa US, then they will Sila, bida pa rin sila because they will be the ones to advocate for a discalization. Ang nangyari yung pangalawa.
Exactly.
Meron naman nagsasabi,
Dinisown
si
nila
Pelosi daw, katangahan lang talaga ni Pelosi.
dinisown nila.
Kasi nag-decide siya pupunta sa Taiwan daw, hindi siya nagpipermiso kay Biden. Bigla na lang nalaman ni Biden na papunta pala.
Imposible yun, Butch.
Exactly.
American government
Yeah,
aircraft at
Alam mo,
dala.
si Ado is also a physical scientist in many ways. And under physical law, water seeks its own level. Diba? Para ang leader mo, hanggang doon lang talaga ang level niya, lahat ng mga lieutenants niya under that leader, gano'n na rin talaga ang andar. So, kita mo yung bulilyasong ginawa ni Pelosi, tingnan mo naman si presidente nila ng Amerika, mismong sa pag-address niya sa Amerika, may teleprompter na siya, nakakatulog pa siya. So whatever it is you could see, because of the physical laws. Anyway, sabi mo nga, Ado, merong yung pangalawang maiisip natin na ginawa ni Pelosi at the reaction of mainland China.
Well, the principle that mainland China adopted here was precisely one of Lao Tzu, no? Which is to win a fight,
Without doing
winning a war without fighting,
in battle.
winning the battle without fighting the war.
Right.
So yun ang nangyari dito, no? So nagkamali ang US dito because hindi nila naisip that China will not harm its own people. Hindi nila sasaktan ang Taiwan.
Exactly.
Kung meron man, siguro, sa ibang bagay, economic, which happened. No?
Right.
Thousands of brands, thousands
Right.
of products were banned. But these are all momentarily economic sanctions lang yan. No? For instance, yung pineapple, matagal na yun. No? At tayo, Pilipinas na nakinabang doon sa pineapple na yun. So, yun ang nangyari sa Taiwan. Pangalawa, hindi nila i-invade ng Taiwan. Bakit mo invade sarili
Because
mong
it's
probinsya?
theirs. Sa kanila yun.
Oo. Ang US at ang China signed 3 communiques. No? Kaya there is no variable here. The first communique was signed in 1972. That is for the One China
Two systems
policy. No? In 1979, the US again signed another communique that Taiwan is part of China, a province of China. No?
Recognize
82.
that policy. Di ba?
Oo. Nung in between, tayo naman, nirecognize natin in 75 ang China, no? And nag-resolve tayo noon that we will, the basic of that communique is whatever conflict we are in will be solved through bilateral negotiation,
Diplomacy.
diplomatic, peaceful way. In 1982 was the third communique, where it said that Beijing is the government of all of China. So, this cannot, Biden cannot use Alzheimer's here as an example. So, this is well lined in the records of world diplomacy.
And the other thing, recognized by the United Nations.
Exactly.
Correct.
All
And
countries
then,
of the world. Yeah.
Maski na tayo, recognize din natin yung two systems. Dahil we do not even have an embassy in Taiwan. We have a cultural office.
NECO.
NECO, di ba? We downgraded our original position when we had it.
It's just an office for economic cooperation.
That's right. No?
Oo.
At kanyan talaga ang policy, pati Amerikano. Bigla-bigla, pagdating nito, iba na ang dating. No? Biglang na Alzheimer's Biden.
They were testing the water, so to speak. Sinasabi nga natin, the danger in the waters. Sapagkat inuudyok nila ang China talaga. Makikita natin sa South China Sea, ganyan na nga ang ginagawa din ng mga, the Quad. Tapos sa mga nilang Australia dyan, tapos sari-sari na ng kanilang pinapaandar sa South China Sea.
But the banner, Rita, that they're using is no longer valid, which is democracy. Alam ng buong mundo ngayon na ang US no longer represents the ideal democracy. In fact, it's a do-no-cracy. No? They're in two quarters of recession already, but
Exactly.
they're still denying that they have a depression. No? But, well, they're entitled to their own opinion, but the records are there. No? And that with a war record, pero mo fresh from Afghanistan, di pa nakakatapos. Inatake nila
Ang
Somalia,
Oh.
tapos tanggulo sila sa Ukraine.
oo.
Tapos ngayon dito, maggugulo uli sila.
Kasi yung hanap buhay,
Nakatigil-tigil.
hanap buhay nila yan eh.
Yeah.
Ayun,
That's their main goal.
anong geopolitical ano yung laro ng kano sa mga kaalyado nila dito? Because nakikita na natin may mga gulo dito, gulo dyan sa Ukraine, tapos sa Middle East, nagkaroon sila ngayon dito na naman sa China Sea. No?
Butch, they're flexing their muscle.
Okay.
Because I might be preempting it, but soon, Germany will get out of
NATO.
the hot seat sa NATO and
the
followed
Euro-
by France
And also from the European Union.
and from the European Union. Kasi pinihit na ng Russia yung yung gripo ng langis.
Exactly.
Wala nang langis ngayon, wala nang gas na pumapasok sa Western
Tsaka
Europe.
halata na nila.
At winter na,
Halata na
giginawin
nila,
na sila.
ginagamit lang sila ng Amerika,
Correct.
NATO, para itulak nga ang paglaban sa Ukraine. Nakakatawa nga, Ado, kasi kailan ba pinakawala ng Ukraine ni Gorbachev? 1991. Bakit kukunin ulit ng Russia yan? Binigyan na nga siya ng independence yan together with 13 other Soviet republics. Ang problema niyan, you've also mentioned this in your program, yung border lang, yung dalawang magulong
Yes.
probinsya dyan,
Yes,
yung Donbass,
Donbass region.
Donbass tsaka yung Dasank, yan dalawa na yan.
Luhansk and Donetsk.
Oo, yun ang kanilang, sama ng pronunciation ko, no? Pero yun na nga, yung dalawang probinsya. Ang hirap kasi ng Ruso.
Pero ang okay lang yun. We look at it from that way, on that side. But recently, the Chinese ambassador to Russia, 2 days ago, came up with a very scathing allegation against the United States, no? Calling the in reference to the Ukraine, no? He said that kasi ang Chinese position, if you notice, was medyo parang diplomatic pa very careful sa kanilang diplomatics, no? Pero pagdating dito, just 2 days ago, iba na. He accused the United States of a direct provocation of Russia and no justification. And then in the same spirit, the United States had made a direct provocation against China in the same allegation na ginawa niya, which for the first time parang he's tying this up and putting the blame directly on the United States.
But that's exactly what America is.
Yes.
If we look at their history, yan talaga sila. Meron silang parang template. Bago sila pumasok sa
Right.
bansa, Ado was saying, they wave the flag of democracy. Ano pa
Well,
ide-democracy?
actually yan, maintenance of hegemony, di ba?
Oo.
Hindi, pero what I'm trying to say here is, alam natin, ganyan ang mga galaw nito mga kano, no? Pero ngayon lang, umabot dito sa level na opisyal.
At nasabihan sila.
At nasabihan na, which means, yan ang first step towards a major conflict di ba?
Alam mo kasi, Butch, since sumupo si Biden, 5 beses na sila nag-uusap sa telepono. Si Xi Jinping at si Biden nag-uusap sa telepono. Doon sa fourth, nawala na talaga ng temper si Jinping. At sinabi na niya mismo, diretsahan to the face of Biden. You are saying something, but you are doing something else. At that was a few months ago. Pagdating dito sa issue ng Taiwan at umuusok na yung puwit ni Pelosi, diba? Fifth time, a few days ago, no? More than a week ago, before this erupted. Inulit-uli ni Xi Jinping, nag-usap na naman sila sa telepono. Ang hindi naiintindihan dito, ng Amerika ay ang tunay na demokrasya ay talagang China. Because yung mga leaders ng katulad ni Xi Jinping ay takot sa constituency niya. Takot sa partido, sa Communist
Party.
Party of China.
Right.
Na pagka may nagreklamo, may nagganyan-ganyan, at di ano sasabihin nila sa Taiwan? Aba, Taiwan lang, hindi mo kaya. At saka, yung mga yan, duro ng duro yan. 5 beses mo na sinasabihan, hindi pa nakikinig. Nagmumukha na siya, no? May eleksyon at the end of this year sa Japan, sa China. So,
although he's supposed to be president for life, no?
yes.
Pero I agree with you dito, no? Na sa China, the government is just a what do you call it? A satellite of the Communist Party. No? Ang may hawak talaga dyan, Communist Party of China. So, yung government is subsidiary operation. Okay. At ginawa nila si Xi Jinping maging presidente. Ngayon, si Xi Jinping ang nakipag-usap-usap. Sinasabi nila kay Xi Jinping, ilang beses mo nang kinausap na yan, no? Huwag na tayong maghintay. Which means, meron mga tao sa China, no, that are already ready, no,
You're getting impatient.
to go to war, no, and they feel at this point that they have the means, they have the capability, say in the weaponry and so on and so forth, to defend themselves. No?
Balikan natin dito sa atin. How does this affect us? That's the danger in the waters. Sabi ko nga, kagaya ng Taiwan, yan dinadaanan dyan sa Northern Philippines, meron kang mapang, pakita nga natin. Kasi ang nangyari dyan, tapos ang bisita ni Pelosi, pinaligiran ng, I don't know if you call it the Chinese Armada, andyan na lahat ng warships ng China.
Ito muna yung Southeast Asia.
Yan ang,
Yung Pilipinas, nandun, sa north ng Pilipinas, nandun yung maliit yung Taiwan, katabi ng China. No?
Exactly.
No?
Okay, so apektado tayo sapagkat yung nangyari nga dyan, nag-react sila, pinaligiran ng China ang Taiwan ng kanilang mga battleships. Nakita mo ang Amerika, hindi nakakibo, di ba?
This is from two perspectives. The first perspective is that of China. Kung saan ang ginawa ng China, naglagay sila ng 5 to 6 different targets around Taiwan. No? Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, hindi nila papuputukan ng Taiwan. Para pakita lamang na hindi pwedeng may lumapit sa Taiwan. No?
Ito yan.
Ayan. Yan. Anim ang nakapakita dyan.
Yung pula.
Yung pula na yan ang tatargetin ng Dongfeng missiles. China does not have to launch a single Navy ship and a single aircraft to counteract any aggressive. No?
Andyan lang kasi sila katabing-katabi ng Taiwan.
Katabi, malapit. No? So, China can always retaliate at any given attack. In fact, the Center for New American Security in the U.S. staged with Meet the Press, no, ng NBC to simulate a battle, no, war games, in case the Americans or its allies staged the first three attacks. So, ano mangyayari kung magkaroon ng 3 attacks? And ang retaliation ng itong picture na ito,
Next one.
yung may mga parang putok.
Yeah. Yung asul.
Yung asul, ano yan?
Nasa
America
mainland.
and its allies, no? And the presumption, I will to you later, no? That most of this basically will come from Japan, because Japan has the largest installation of US forces in East Asia. No? Siyempre, nandyan ang reinforcement coming from Guam. Nandyan din yung possibility of action staged from Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. But they also assume that aircrafts will be being launched from Butch Air Base.
Yes.
No,
Yan ang sagot sa tanong ni Rita.
how does it
And
affect
sa
us?
Northern
Kasi,
Philippines.
andyan
Then,
kasi ano eh.
So, ang sagot, ni isang bomba walang tatama sa Taiwan. Pero, pero, sa Japan, 7 out of the 11. 2 sa Guam. No? Sa Guam, ang ilo-launch nila yung Dongfeng 26. Alam mo nickname ng Dongfeng 26? Butch? Guam Killer.
Guam killer.
So after i-launch yun, Guam will be abolished from the
Annihilated.
face of the earth. No?
Lulubog.
Oo. And then, ang pinaka-crucial, ang pinaka-bugbog na bugbog, Japan. Ha?
Kasi andyan yung malaking
At
base
yung
nila.
pinaka-ibaba sa Japan, yung malapit doon sa blue, yun ang kadena sa Okinawa, kadena
Diba
air
na?
base.
Etong mapang to, tsaka yung blue, tsaka red, ang gumawa nito, Amerikano.
Amerikano ang gumawa nito?
Okay.
Amerikano
Ibig
ang
sabihin,
nag-simulate nito, ha?
Amerikano ang nag-simulate nito.
Oo.
Kanya, hindi yung China.
Hindi.
Ako, ang tingin ko, no, yung Pilipinas, palagay ko, bugbog din tayo.
Of
No?
course.
Sa Northern Luzon.
Hindi lang sa Northern
Yeah,
Luzon
li-
tayo.
yeah, five
No?
bases here.
Lima ang EDCA bases.
Oo,
They
limang
have five-
EDCA
they have
bases
five
na
bases.
nila dito. No? Tatama sa atin siguro, mga 4-5 pa rin. No? Lulubog din tayo pag nagkataon. Pero sana, sana hindi masyado tayong targetin katulad ng Taiwan. No?
Well, unang-una, wala namang eroplano pa dito ang Amerika ngayon. No?
Uy, mga
Ay,
aircraft carriers nila, malapit na natin sa
Pwede
dito.
itabi. Pwede
Oo,
itabi.
oo.
In fact, nung balang si Pelosi pala, nagpunta sa Taiwan.
She was
Medyo may
accompanied.
mga nakaabak na.
Oh, yun,
She was
may
accompanied by the
dalawang
warship.
aircraft
Oo.
carrier dyan eh. No? Dyan sa area niya.
So, yun ang senaryo, no? And, ang tanong dito, Rita and Butch, pag nilaunch ba yung mga yan, maghihintay pa ba ng retaliation ng China bago i-launch yung second wave? May second wave pa ba yan o buhos na yan? Kasi meron ng Dongfeng 41
Wala, naubos sa lahat.
na lampas na ang apot sa New York. At meron din mga tinatawag na multiple re-entry vehicles, MIRVs ngayon, na hindi ballistic ang dating, katulad ng Dongfeng 41, kung hindi, horizontal na at the speed of Mach 5.
Wow.
Right.
And sa latest trial ng China, alam mong ginawa nila rin sa mga MIRVs? Hindi nila pinasabog doon sa intended outside of China. Pinabalik nila sa China. It circumnavigated the globe and hit targets sa Gobi Desert ng China.
Wow.
So ano ibig sabihin? Is there anywhere na pwede ka pa magtago sa China?
So sabihin, satellite control.
Ay, yes, lahat ko.
Grabe.
Lahat yan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And America knows this. And why are they provoking?
Aba, kaya nga umurong ang ni Biden at si Blinken biglang nag-appeal
Oo.
nung pumunta dito.
Bigla.
Ang statement niya ay biglang naging pusa. Naging pusikat. We are appealing for de-escalation.
Well, it
And
makes
our
it...
mutual defense treaty will be evolving.
Evolving.
Oo.
Sabi ko nga, I agree. Evolving towards abrogation.
Exactly. That should be the
Precisely
case.
because of this
Oo.
scenario.
Precisely.
Pero I think we should not be complacent in the thinking na mas malakas sila sa Amerikano kanya walang gera. You must remember, ang policy ng Amerikano is first strike policy. No?
Yes.
ang kanilang is, and they have announced this several times, Xi Jinping, do not fire the first shot. No? Yun ang policy sinabi. No? Kaya nakikita mo, nakakatakot. No? Although retaliatory ang China, yung isa, uunahan ka, eh siyempre yung unang biray niya malakas. No?
Ang prinsipyo
Yung
ng
title
China,
na-
yung Mandarin is Ren Wu Fan Wo, U Bu Fan Ren, Ren Wu Fan Wao, O Bi Fan Ren. We will not attack unless we are attacked.
Yeah.
We will certainly counter-attack if we are attacked.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Mabigat
yun.
eh.
Retaliatory.
Yun ang tinatawag nilang active defense. Hindi sila
Mabigat yan,
mag-
But you can see, in a public statement, that is their stated policy. Sa Amerikano, ang policy nila stated din, first strike.
Okay.
No?
Balik natin yung chart, yung picture doon sa mga nagputukan. Ito ngayong tatlo ang first strike ng US.
Ano,
No?
yan,
Sa mainland.
At immediate retaliation, 11 in the local area, in the regional area. Does that mean na wala nang susunod sa tatlo na yan? Ang assumption dyan, meron nang susunod dyan. At ang assumption sa bawat tatlong paputok nila, 11 ang on the way naman going
To America
to the
itself.
US.
To America itself.
So,
China pa lang yan.
China pa lang yan. Ha? The question is, with the hot war going on in Ukraine, are they ready to fight even a limited battle on two fronts, on the west
Okay.
and on the east? I doubt it.
Dito yata sila nasubukan sapagkat kung talagang gusto nila magkaroon ng gera, yung presence na lang itong mga Chinese nito around Taiwan, doon pwede na silang tumira.
Mm.
But they
Yeah.
did not.
Mm.
Oh, yun din ang sinasabi mo nga kanina, yung the Sun Tzu policy that if your enemy appears weak, that's the time that you will attack.
Kasi kung
Diba?
maglo-launch sila ng ganito, ibig sabihin, they will launch it from either submarines that
Yeah,
are in the
yeah.
area, or warships,
So,
or airplanes that have taken off from their aircraft carriers. Malapit sila. Kayang-kaya silang pulbusin.
Exactly.
Oo.
That's true. Okay. So yan ang area na pinag-uusapan natin, the danger in the waters.
ngayon tayo
Oo. There are 5 Philippine bases kung andyan ang mga Amerikano. So 5 Philippine bases with Americans there, with their equipment, with their personnel, etc. Kaya talagang matatamaan tayo kung sakaling magkaroon ng
Maaari ba
putukan
nating
dyan.
sabihin na, hoy, kayo sa Pampanga, yung Basa Air Base nandiyan. Hoy, kayo sa Nueva Ecija, yung Fort Magsaysay nandiyan. Kayo sa Cebu, yung Benito
Palawan.
Ebuen,
Sa
sa Mactan
Palawan.
nandiyan.
Sa
Kayo sa
Palawan.
Palawan, yung Antonio Bautista Base nandiyan. At doon sa Mindanao, sa Cagayan de Oro, sa Lumbia.
Oo.
Oh, pwede ba natin sabihin ganon?
But hindi. But hindi.
Hindi. Dahil mamimili ba yung bilog kung hanggang saan sa tatama? Pag 5 lugar ng Pilipinas ang naatake, saan ka magtatago?
Bakit wala sa ating mga nasa Kongreso na nakaisip ngayon sa nangyari sa Taiwan na pag-aralan itong EDCA na ito?
Ay, busy-busy sila sa pagbasa ng anti-vaping law.
Okay.
Ay,
na,
nako.
na pinagbawal ng American Medical Society. Ewan ko ba, lutang ang ating Senado ngayon, lutang ang ating Kongreso. Meron pa silang anti-ghosting.
Ano yung ghosting?
Yung pagka iniwanan ng lover, yung naging ghost, yung lover, gagawin nilang crime yun. Na pag iniwanan ng isang lover at nagreklamo yung iniwanan, ay tatamaan ng isang krimen yun.
Where in heaven's
Dito.
name
Ewan
is this
ko.
coming from? Between their ears? Wala nang
Hindi nga,
laman.
At the latest-
since you brought it up, Rita, I just wanted to point out, we have a new government now. No? Sa akin, it is not enough for you to say that stated foreign policy is we are a friend to all and enemy of none. That is a general statement, motherhood statement that every country is already saying that. But the fact of the matter is, I am sure the President knows that there are U.S. bases inside our military bases in the Philippines, 5 of them. And these U.S. military bases have the capability of sending nuclear weapons to China, which is their stated enemy. No? Now, since he knows that, we are put at risk. No? And the president, rather than take a middle of the road type of situation, especially with the kind of danger that started in Taiwan, no? Kailangan sabihin niya, no? Kailangan sabihin niya sa Kano, ayaw namin kayo dito dahil dadalhin niyo kami sa gera, no? Pagpaypaya mo mag-react ang Amerikano.
Hindi niya pwedeng sabihin na hindi niya alam yan. Dahil noong pinupropose ang EDCA sa ating Senado, isa siya sa mga nagtanong kay Voltaire Gasmen.
Yes.
At sabi niya, question niya yung statement ni Voltaire Gasmen na Defense Secretary ni Noynoy Aquino, na sabi ni Voltaire, EDCA daw is a deterrent. Is a deterrent. Kasi daw, ang pagka-deterrent niya, nung nagpadala tayo ng resupply mission to Ayungin Shoal, doon sa mga Philippine Navy na nandun sa loob ng barkong na
Bulo.
no? Ay, hindi raw umatake ang China dahil na-deterrent daw ng EDCA. Uy, buhay pa noon si Miriam Defensor.
Yeah, she also adapted.
Tinanong din ni Miriam Defensor si Voltaire Gasmen. Konting history lang po ng kaunti, no?
Pero,
Na ang sabi ni Voltaire Gasmen, paano, sabi niya gano'n, paano yan kung atakehin tayo at hindi magkatotoo yung deterrent? Ano mangyayari? Alam mo ang sagot niya? The US will come to our aid. Naalala ko tuloy yung speech ni Apo Perdi, Marcos Sr. sa National Press Club ng Washington, D.C. noong 1982. Na tinanong din siya ng mga Amerikano tungkol dyan. Dahil bakit daw siya naniningil ng renta sa mga base militar. Meron naman daw Mutual Defense Treaty. Alam mo sabi ni
McCoy.
What does that mean? Subject to constitutional processes ang reaction ninyo. That means, sabi ni Apo, that this will pass through your Congress. At kailangan magpasapain yung Congress ng joint resolution para kayo kumilos. What does that mean? Sabi ni Apo, that means delay. What does delay mean? That means that while you are debating about it here, we are already dying over there.
That's exactly it. Sabi mo nga, Sir Butch, what is the stand now to be taken by our new president? I believe that it's almost next month. He will be traveling to the United States for the General Assembly of the United Nations. I believe that will also be one opportunity for him to discuss this more seriously. Siguro sa ngayon, precisely because the danger in the waters dyan sa Taiwan and in the South China Sea, masyado pang mainit sa kasalukuyan, he will prepare for that. I'm sure that he knows exactly what's happening. Yung sinasabi nga ni Sir Butch, what statement will he make? I have a very strong feeling that in the United Nations General Assembly, he might yet take the stand of the 10 member countries of ASEAN, the region of Southeast Asia, before the General Assembly, precisely because itong hegemony conflict is already getting on edge. Yeah. So I believe that by September.
Maganda nga yun if you've got the ASEAN countries behind him on this. No? But for our own foreign policy, I think the president cannot be ambiguous anymore. No, it's all right and nice and cute to say the Mutual Defense Treaty is evolving or in evolution or something like that, which means nothing, right? But what we must say is there is an ongoing crisis right now, and China has already made known shown their capability of protecting their interests. Now, we here have to protect, the Philippines has to protect its interests. And the presence of U.S. installations in the Philippines, no, is detrimental to the lives of 100 million Filipinos. Why can't he say that? No? Why will he be afraid of reaction from the United States? No? We're not getting anything from them anyway. No, itong mentality ng Pilipino na noon pa, no, takot na sa kano, hanggang ngayon takot na sa kano. Pinapatay na tayo ng kano, takot pa tayo sa kano.
Lahat ng kilos natin seems to be dependent on how the US will
Yes,
react.
yes.
Diba? Sabi nga ni Rod Kapunan sa Philippine Standard. Pero ako, iba ang take ko dito. And masama ang kutob ko sa visit na ito. Kaya, unang-una bakit? Dahil si Noriega nasa Panama, kinidnap, dinala sa Guantanamo. Si Bongbong Marcos, may kaso yan sa Hawaii. May contempt order dyan. No? Baka pagpunta niya sa US, sabi nila, dadalaw naman sa UN. Hindi, New York pa rin yan. Ha? Kung ang tatay niya nakidnap mula sa Malacanang at nadala sa Guam hanggang Honolulu, saan kaya nila pwedeng dalhin si Bongbong? Yan ang problema. Kaya, para sa akin, kung maaari lamang, ipagpaliban na muna yung trip na yan. Pumunta muna siya sa China, makihalubilo siya sa Russia, para magkaroon ng semblance of strength, para walang mangyari sa kanya na karumal-dumal pag siya ay napunta sa United Nations. Pero ako, never ko siyang papayagan kung ako masusunod. No, I hope Lisa Araneta is waiting, is
Listening.
Because otherwise, this might be the president with the shortest term in our history. At ready naman pumalit si Inday Sara.
Crossfire, that's exactly what we're at right now. The danger in the waters is also the danger surrounding the office of the highest seat in the land. So, as Ado was saying, kailangan sigurong pag-aralan mabuti. I also had my apprehension. Sinasabi mo nga, although there was verbally the assurance early on that he will not be arrested or that the case, that he has a resident immunity, but as you said, President Marcos, his father, also had his immunity, but the Pelaez surrendered this or it was taken over by the Americans. Kaya nakakatakot talaga. But then again, we have to be, sabi nga ni Ado, importante na we strengthen first our foothold with the other great powers here within our region, as a matter of fact. Kasi yung sinasabi ng kaso niya sa Honolulu, that's the human rights contempt case sapagkat, can you imagine that case, Ado? Just so long as nabanggit na rin natin para madinig din ng mga nakikinig sa atin.
Pwede ba, Rita, i-dismiss muna nila yon bago nila imbitahin na ating
Exactly.
presidente?
Yun ang
Napakapangit.
Oo. At saka tingnan mo yun. Contempt yun because the PCGG entered into a compromise agreement with the Marcoses, which according to Judge Real of Honolulu, hindi pwedeng gawin ng mga Marcos yun. A Filipino citizen entering a compromise agreement with his own government, iko-contempt ng American court. So, ang ginawa nun, binigyan ng penalty si President Bongbong Marcos and Mrs. Marcos every day. $100,000 yan. Kaya ang laki-laki na ng penalty na yan. It's not an idiotic contempt case. Kaya tama ka.
Ako,
I-dismiss
yung
nila yan.
Yung kutub ko, hindi
I-dismiss
lamang
nila
dahil
yan.
doon. No? That's a live case, by the way. Pero para sa akin, napatunayan na natin.
Uh,
Mula sa founding ng United States of America, the US is the most unreliable partner you can have.
yes.
Since its founding in 1776, the US has been at war 93% of the time. These wars have extended from its own hemisphere to the Pacific, to Europe, and most
Africa.
recently to the Middle East, no? And Eastern Europe. Hindi naman gera. It's not a Ukrainian-Russian war. This is a Russian-American war
surrogate.
in Ukraine.
Surrogate.
Yeah, surrogate.
The US has launched 201 out of 248 conflicts since the end of World War II.
In spite of the United Nations.
Oh, in recent decades, most of these wars have been unsuccessful. The US maintains 800 military bases all over around the world. It has been meddling in other countries' affairs for a century, and it tried to change other countries' governments' times during the Cold War. And after the Cold War, in Honduras, Guatemala, Iran, Haiti, Congo, Indonesia, Japan, Vietnam, Chile, Iraq, Afghanistan, and most recently Syria, and the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, and the EDSA Revolution in the Philippines in 1980.
So what you're trying to tell the world is, ganyan talaga ang palakad ng mundo ng Amerika. Kaya nakakatakot. Sabi nga ni...
Traidor!
Yeah, what Indira Gandhi says, it's very uncomfortable to be a
Traidor
friend.
si Bonifacio, si Aguinaldo. Noong pa, ilan ang massacre nila rito sa Budaho, sa Budbagsak, at kung saan-saan pa, sa Balanghiga.
Balahiga.
No?
Exactly.
Very unreliable. Niloko ang sultanato ng Sulu. On what record? On what record? The fact that they gave us an independence in 1946, which turned out na dami palang kulatilya, including the Laurel Langley Agreement, this military bases agreement.
Giving them all the privileges as
my
Filipinos.
goodness.
Yeah, exactly. It really is about time. It is about time that we
And the way they
yeah.
treated Apo Verde.
Yes.
Ha? Inano nila, kinon nila ng mga neocons sa Washington DC led by George Shultz and Paul Wolfowitz.
Yeah.
No?
That's right.
Kinon nila. At sabi nila, para magkagulo, talagang ako naniniwala, sila pumatay kay Ninoy Aquino para magkagulo. 82, ano ba 82? Pag-alis ni Presidente Marcos doon sa state visit
State
na
visit.
sinasabi natin, pinagplanuhan na nila dahil imbis na magalit si Reagan at si Nancy, ay nagsayawan pa sila, kaya nagalit tuloy itong mga neo-conservative. 83, namatay si Ninoy Aquino. 84, sinira nila ang ating ekonomiya. Pinabagsak nila ang ating mga credit
Yeah.
para
148,
ang mga
100
factories magsara. And by 85, kinon na naman nila sa snap election si Marcos. And finally, in 86, kinidnap nila. Paano ka magtitiwala sa mga hayupak na yan?
Anyway, that's Crossfire for you. Exactly as we're discussing, these are the dangers in our waters, hindi lang dito surrounding us, but surrounding the world, as a matter of fact. Dalawang bansa na sinasabi nga ni Ado na kinakailangan natin na hawakan din, lalo na sa paninindigan sa kasalukuyan. We already have very strong relationships with these two countries, but then we still have to define exactly where we stand as far as America is concerned. And as I've said, yung sinasabi nga ni Sir Butch, kailan magsasalita ang ating kasalukuyang presidente tungkol dito, although I am with the belief that he will speak about this sa United Nations or when he meets with President Biden. Pero sabi naman ni Ado, delikado yan na biyahe niya sapagkat very recent history is what exactly happened to many of the world leaders that have been, hijacked by America itself. Talagang mahirap ngayon. And hindi pa natin napag-uusapan dito sa South China Sea ang nangyayari. Siguro we need another session for that sapagkat masalimuot din yan dito sa mga islands na yan.
Ang pinaka-clear and present danger, Rita, Butch, ay baka may Alzheimer na si Biden. Makalimutan pa ang pangalan ni Bongbong. Yan ang problema.
Kahit na may
Napakalaking problema.
kahit na meron ng teleprompter, nakakatulog pa. Yun ang,
Yeah.
Nung minsan pagkatapos na speech niya, hindi niya alam kung saan siya lalabas. Sabi pa niya.
Oo nga.
oh, they had
Tapos,
exactly, they had to write it down for him to know whether he
Oh,
exits
right.
left or right.
Stand up,
Pero,
sit down.
oo. Pero ang mas delikado dyan kung may mangyari sa kanya. Can you imagine their vice president,
Yeah.
si Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That could be Pelosi 100%.
But it's a
100
crisis.
degree
It's
actually.
a crisis for the world. No? Hindi lang sa Amerika yan. No? Because kung sira-sira ang leadership ng Amerikano, katulad ngayon, no? Eh, gugulo ang buong mundo. At dito na nga tayo papunta. Sa akin, crisis no? It's a world in crisis, major. And it's about time no? That our country finally no? Stands up for its sovereignty. No? Stop playing games with
Based
these
on
people.
principles.
Based on principle. Maski na hindi natin kaya, paalisin yung mga hinayupak na yan dyan. No? Kung nandyan sila, maski na hindi natin kaya, we must declare that they are not welcome here because their presence is threatening our lives.
There is no reason for them to be here. We have no enemies, sabi nga.
That's right.
That it is not a deterrent, but in fact, a magnet.
A magnet.
Oo.
No? At alam na ng kanuyon, no? Bahala na sila mag-react sa atin. Anong sasabihin nila? Sige, we will not import from any of you. My goodness, andaan China tsaka Russia ready to help us. Right now, we cannot even get our oil because the Western banks do not deal with Russia. And our oil has to pass through Western banks when you open letters of credit. And so we have to generate the ruble to be able to buy it via China. Anong itatakot sa atin itong mga kanong ito? No?
Kaya ako, kinatatakot ko, dahil yung ating ambassador doon sa US, ay American boy. At dating PR agent ng US Embassy dito. Alam mo ba ang ginawa pag-alis ni Duterte? Pinahold yung deal natin sa Russia for the Mi-17
Helicopter.
cargo helicopters. Nakapag-down payment na tayo ng 2 billion pesos.
Joseph naman.
Yeah.
Ba?
Pinsan ni Bongbong yun eh. No?
Yun ang sinasabi ko eh. Pero wala pa naman yung 100 days na ating Pangulo. Kaya hindi ko pa siya medyo uhusgahan dyan sa aspeto na yan. Pero para sa akin, miski na wala nagtatanong, ako, ang ilalagay ko ng Department of Foreign Affairs Secretary, aalisin ko sa NSA, ilalagay ko si Clarita Carlos. Tapos, si Manalo, ilalagay kong ambassador to the US. Kasi career yun eh. Hindi kikilos yun ng walang abiso.
De libro.
Oo. Kaya mas balanse ang dynamics natin.
That's for
Because we are in clear and present danger in our relationship with the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
Hindi na
I
biro-biro ito.
I agree. And I think we must not, I don't mean to be misjudged by the people. No? When I'm asking for the president to take a more decisive step and something clearer, no, it is really for the good of the president, no, and for our country. No? Because it is, number one is our interest. We can't play games anymore. No? We can't play middle of the road anymore. We have to take a position, no, on the matter of principle.
Oh.
And that is where the leadership very is needed. The leadership not of, fence city, or middle of the road. Leadership to bring us out of a crisis.
Tama yung sabi ni Sir Butch. Huwag tayo magmadali
Mm,
na sapagkat inimbita siya sa Amerika at sapagkat merong General Assembly sa September. Every year naman merong General Assembly. he can attend that next year. Tama yung sabi ni Ado.
Si
Pag-aralan mo
Duterte
ng
nga hindi napunta doon.
ever for the
6
past 6
years.
years. Exactly.
Oh.
Kaya ang mahalaga dito, pag-aralan mabuti, yung sinasabi nga ni Sir Butch. Sa kasalukuyan, nakikita natin that there is the priority ng ating food security. So, ipagpaliban na natin na si Presidente talagang nakita mo yung nangyayari sa sugar.
Domestic issue.
Oo, domestic issues talaga.
Maraming-
Asikasuhin muna. Kaya, wag,
Kamatis,
Oo.
80 per kilo.
oo nga. Huwag munang
Sibuyas,
magmadali.
mas
Huwag munang
mataas
magmadali sa pagpunta dun sa assembly na yan. Sapagkat, yun na nga, meron pa rin dyan yung clear and present danger.
At saka tama si Butch din na Rita, no? Ako pa kami nagsasabi na independent foreign policy. Ang sarap pakinggan. No? Pero how can we have an independent foreign policy kung ang dice natin ay
Loaded.
loaded? Because we have the Mutual Defense Treaty. The Mutual Defense Treaty is not is not docile. It is a military alliance. Ibig sabihin, kaya tayong obligahin ng Amerika pag gegerahin niya ang China, pag gegerahin niya ang North Korea. Kaya tayong obligahin yan. Ha?
We're obligated.
Because it's a military alliance. Itong ENCAT BFA, anak lang yan sa labas ng MDT. No? At saka yung daughter-in-law ng Mutual Defense Treaty, yung 2016 Arbitral Tribunal, yun ang daughter-in-law. Lahat yan pro-America yan.
Anak sa labas.
Alisin na natin yan. Kung talagang independent tayo, zero-base natin yan. National interest lang. 108 million Filipinos. Ano mabuti sa kanila?
Tama.
Yun lang.
Kagaya na nga sinasabi ni Sir Butch, for the longest time, na naging colony tayo ng America 45 years. Pagkatapos kung ano-anong mga pinagmamalaki natin, binigyan tayo ng public education, yung mga highways, infrastructure. Ngunit, sa agriculture, Sir Butch, ikaw na rin ang nagsasabi, bakit hindi tayo tinulungan sa agriculture natin? Sapagkat, kailangan sa kanila tayo aasa ng lahat ng mga produkto na kanilang pinapaggatas.
Rita, ang huling tulay na pinagawa ng Amerika dito ay ang Jones Bridge. Noong 1920, sila rin ang bumomba tapos na-repair nila noong 1946. Pero 1946, nandyan ang huling
Jones Bridge.
bridge. Ang huling tulay na binigay sa atin ng China, mabagong-bago pa, naging tourist spot ng mga lovers. Itong iconic Binondo Intramuros.
Punta sa Binondo, oo.
At saka yung Australia Pantalian Bridge. At saka meron pa sa Davao. Naku, ayoko na lang pumunta dyan muna ngayon. No? Pero 1920 pa yun. Yung Jones Bridge.
Itong mga bridge na ginawa ng China sa atin, madami-dami na, di ba?
Ay, sus,
Sa ilang taon pa lang. Anyway.
Yan ang sinasabi ko. Total, si Presidente Bongbong Marcos na nagsabi doon sa aming awards for the promotion of Philippine-Chinese understanding. No? Sabi niya, that was before manumpa siya as president. At sabi niya, China is our strongest partner. Eh bakit ka pupunta sa US? Unahin mo muna si
Strong partner.
Xi
Jinping.
ang ating kaibigan Chino.
Exactly. Oo.
Ha? Unahin mo muna ito. Kapitbahay natin ito.
Sana may mga nakikinig nga sapagkat mahalaga talaga na mabigyan natin ng mga ganitong klaseng salita na nanggagaling din sa ating pagmamahal sa Kanya at sa ating bayan. Sapagkat yun na nga, these dangers in the water that we are surrounded with also affects very much the people and the nation. Kaya mahalaga, dito sa Crossfire natin, marami na tayong nailabas. At siguro sa susunod, uulitin natin yan sapagkat kailangan din ng ating Pangulo ng lahat ng tulong. Sabi nga ni Sir Butch, bakit hindi inuna ng mga Amerikano yung ating agricultural productivity? Ayan, nakita mo na, gusto nila na sari-sari mga ibang bagay. Yung Jones Bridge na tinayo nila noon.
Ayaw kasi nila Butch na tayo maging self-reliant.
And,
self-sufficient.
and truly
Dahil baka
independent.
tubuan tayo ng katalinuhan at
Right.
maging ma-ghosting natin sila. Iwanan nila natin ang
Walang ano
lover
yan.
natin kanong
Remember that Zeus and the demigods?
And the demigods, yes.
Tapos tayo yung mortals. No?
sabi pa nila,
Sabi ng Zeus, wag mong tuturuan yung mga mortal na
Para
yan.
hindi sila maging gods.
Para hindi sila gumaling. No?
sabi nga nila, paano yung Phil-Americans na 3 million sa US? Paano na sila? Sabi ko, paano na nga sila? Di hostage sila ng Amerikano. Ayun, ang lingwahe nga intindihan ng ating mga dating kaibigang
Exactly.
matalik.
Pero ano nangyari nga dyan, sabi mga Sir Butch, wag nang umangat kasi baka maging demigods. Sa kasalukuyan, ang dami na natin ngayon. Hubris is still what pervades as far as, pag nakatungtong na ng power,
Yeah.
ayan na.
Because when that happens, it will end up with, oh my God, OMG.
OMG. Meron tayong mga messages na we still have about 3-4 minutes left.
Yan.
Titans in
Oh,
one table. Magandang hapon po. So, yan. Maraming salamat. Cotabato City. Oh. Rose and Daya. Good afternoon po. Si Raz. From Thailand. Choppy po ang live nyo. O, sige,
Okay.
tingnan natin kung paano maayos yung mga signals na yan. Watching from Antipolo City, si Joseph Siriban Clavita. Gin Tonic. Ang ganda naman ng pangalan mo. Watching from Hong Kong.
No,
UK.
UK.
From UK. Flor Tadlip, God bless po. Watching from Cabangan, Zambales. So, ayan na. Eloisa Marillo, Dr. Lero, love you, Ma'am Rita. Love you too.
Love you too.
Jovelyn Aniban, good afternoon. Sir Butch, watching from Hong Kong. Janet Barona, shout out mga host. O, yan na. Cesar Soberano, so good to see patriotic forces discuss issues of great concern. This is Crossfire. Jem Takagi, good afternoon po. Enjoy watching here. Maganda po topic nyo. Marami ako natututunan. Ay, marami pa ho sa susunod. Zenia Arcilia, good evening po, sir, ma'am. Listening from Hong Kong. God bless your program to all viewers here. Elsie Chan, good day po. Good day din sa iyo, Elsie. Rosalina Mond, good evening, Madam Rita and Sir Butch and Sir Ado. Corazon Noble Dionela. Hope Ma'am Rita Gadi would write a book about the late President Marcos. Magkasama kami ni Ado. Susulat kami niyan. Rom Carlos, Madam Rita, out of topic po. Tatanong ko lang po about Marcos Gold. Ako kilala niyo. Ay, sorry po. Sa ginto ni Marcos, wala po akong direct knowledge dyan. Alejandro
Hughes.
Patagnan, abolish EDCA. Yes. Erlinda Palustre, oo nga po. Ayan, ayaw ni Miriam Santiago ng EDCA sa balita ng buhay pa si Ma'am. Eloy Bangkar, Ferdinand Marcos, sir, remove us vassals states of US and in 1991 on a return in EDCA. Yan. Elizabeth Bacchiano, enjoy your discussions and informative articles, whether you'll be able to help in make our nation better and greater. Yes, we are still here and we're still helping. Oni Picar, watching from Hawaii. Emily Camino, wow, nice. It's about time to reveal the truth. Ed Tiamson, President Marcos must learn from what happened in other countries. The Philippines must not have foreign bases. Yes. Alejandro Patagnan, PBM should not go to UN, New York like PRRD. Tama-tama ka, Ado, yung sinasabi mo. Jinky Bill, hello mga sir at ma'am, watching from Germany. Okay, guten Nacht. So thank you very much for all of those who sent their messages. This has been Crossfire. I'd like to thank Ado Paglinawan. He will be with us quite often.
Salamat din po.
Sir Butch, my partner, and all of you. These are the dangers surrounding us, so let us be firm. And as always, let us pray to the Lord that we will be guided, especially now that still have the pandemic hovering and many other concerns. So stay safe, wear your masks, and observe social distancing. Anyway, thank you. This is Rita Gadi.